I'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. After them. Go! Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry. With the gun in hand. Huh. So she's gonna... Okay, so we're defending her. So those two people killed Mr. Windybank, knocked Gina out, put the gun in her hand. Is that more or less how it's gonna have played out? It's Gina! From that moment, Windybank's pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Another locked room mystery, by the way. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn, before I was allowed back to my lodgings at 221B. "16th April, 6:21 a.m. Naruhodo's legal consultancy." Oh, Iris!
A telegram came, but all it said was, "Wait at home."
Oh, yeah, we asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back.
When I woke up, I was all alone. Hurley and Ginny were gone. Everyone was gone. What happened, Bruno?
You're Iris. You make me feel so bad all the time. I'm sorry. Poor Iris. She's trembling. She's obviously trying very hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know.
Something awful has happened, hasn't it?
Yes, I'm afraid so. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Windybank is dead. He was shot. We discovered it in the early hours of the morning.
Oh, yes, I had a feeling.
You did?
Well, I saw all of those police carriages pulling up outside his shop. So I knew something must have happened there.
When we entered Windybank's in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of two thugs. They ran out onto the street and I chased after them, but they got away.
So, it was one of them who shot old Mr. Windybank, I suppose?
I don't know, but it's not what the police believe at the moment.
Oh, why not?
They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina.
Jenny? But why?
Well, the thing is...
No, Ginny wouldn't do something like that.
I know! None of us think she did it.
Then why have they arrested her?
I'm sorry. There was nothing I could do.
I don't understand why they arrested Ginny. It's not fair.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, that's usually how the law goes.
What about the two thugs that were at the scene? Why aren't they prime suspects? After all, they shot Hurley dead, didn't they?
No! I mean, Mr. Sholmes isn't dead, Iris.
Ah, this is all so horrible.
The thing is, Mr. Windybank was found on the floor in the storeroom where he keeps all the deposited articles, and the storeroom door was locked from the inside.
I see.
But he wasn't alone in there. Gina was found next to him on the floor as well.
Oh no!
And according to the detectives who investigated afterwards...
Don't tell me. There was no one else in the room.
Yeah, exactly. How did you know?
It's the only explanation.
Yeah, the only explanation indeed.
What do you mean by that, Bruno? Well?
What can I say? I'm damned if I agree, damned if I don't.
So where's Hurley then? Is he still there investigating the scene? He really ought to have some breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals.
I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news about Mr. Sholmes. He was taken to hospital this morning.
What?
Well, when we entered Windibanks, a gun was fired and he took a bullet.
Hurley? A shot? No. No.
It's all right. It's all right. His life isn't in danger.
Really? Are you sure? Where is he? Which hospital?
He's at St. Sinner's. They're tending to him there.
I must see him. At once.
I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't.
Why not? That's not fair. I'm a family member. I should be allowed.
No, I mean, nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see.
To operate? Oh, poor Hurley.
It was the two thugs who were in Mr. Windibank's shop. They shot Mr. Sholmes when we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze. After them. Go! After that, I ran out into the street, but... well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry, it's my fault. I let him get away.
I think that's a very good thing.
Sorry?
Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, you might have been shot as well, Bruno. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that.
Oh, Iris. Fucking hell! God damn it!
Where's Susie, Bruno?
She's still at the police station.
Oh, why?
I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while.
Why aren't you there then?
Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. And Mrs. Sato stayed behind at the scene to tend to Mr. Sholmes, so they didn't get started until later.
Ah, I see.
Besides, one of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to me leaving early.
You should have let me know, and I would have come to the station.
I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I can do at the moment. But I can at least try and find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on.
I want to go too. Take me with you, Bruno. I can't stand just sitting around here waiting.
I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child to the scene of a murder. But I don't want to leave her here all alone either. All right then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me?
Oh yes, I'd love to.
Gina's at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed.
And don't forget we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation.
Ah, I can see you're ready for action. I imagine Iris would appreciate going to the hospital sooner rather than later. Yeah, let's start there. 16th of April, St. Sinner's Hospital. Ward 3. Have I done the intro to this episode yet? I'm suddenly doubting it. I don't remember. Anyway, Great Ace Attorney. Hello. Hi. Welcome. We're just doing stuff.
Hurley? Oh.
Huh?
He's not here.
No, that's strange. The nurse definitely said he was in bed by the window, didn't she? Oh, he's escaped.
Oh, I know what's probably happened. Hurley was being a big baby, and the bullet wound wasn't that bad after all, so he's been sent home.
I'm not so sure about that. Baby or not, there's no question that it was a fairly serious injury that Mr. Sholmes suffered.
Oh.
Hello, over here. This ward's off limits, no resident, so what are you doing in here, then?
Well, I'll have you know, we're Hurley's next of kin.
Hey? Oh, well, begging your pardon then, ma'am. So? A little lady and a curious Eastern gentleman. The great mystery solvers a mysterious family, eh?
If that's how you see us, sure.
Where is he, Constable? Where's Hurley?
I believe he's currently in the operating theatre, ma'am, undergoing an extensive operation.
Extensive?
It's been several hours since he went in.
Oh dear. Is he going to be alright?
Well, it doesn't appear to be working, you see. The anaesthetic, that is.
Oh,
I've heard the report that the gentleman claims he may have had a little too much to drink last night. Coffee, that is. Anyway, I think it would be fair to assume that it won't be back here for several hours yet.
I see. Thank you, Constable. Perhaps we should leave and come back later.
oh, poor Hurley.
He had too much coffee to get knocked out. By the way, someone wanna, like, this looks a little shabby. Little more shabby than perhaps I'd like. Are those crutches gonna be important? Oh, is Hurley gonna be on crutches? That would be fun. I wonder what these are. Do you have any idea, Iris?
Oh, haven't you ever seen crutches before? Let me explain. They're for people with leg injuries. They help them walk. You hold one under each arm, you see.
Ah, right. I thought they were weapons of some sort.
Why would there be weapons in a hospital?
I thought maybe a fighter had been injured in a battle contest and brought here along with his weapons.
That's surprisingly plausible.
Is it? Did they have... Okay, this is an area of historical blindness for me then. Did they have fighting contests in London where they beat each other up with weapons? Okay. This must be Mr. Sholmes' bed.
Poor Hurley.
I know. Looks as stiff as a board, doesn't it?
Oh, I don't think that'll bother him.
No?
I often find him asleep face down on the floor, completely dead to the world.
I think I'd call the police if I discovered someone like that. Ah, there's a notice board on the wall here. Look. Let's see. What does it say? Thought of the day: on seeing any vermin, calmly and discreetly inform matron.
Oh, yes, they have rats and mice in hospitals like this that love to feast on all the medicine. If you don't deal with them, there's nothing left to treat the patients.
Rats and mice? Oh, I see. This is a rather old building, I suppose.
But the doctors and nurses are all very good, I hear.
I certainly hope so. For Mr. Sholmes' sake. Yeah, this is this is by the, just a little commentary on medicine here. It took a while before doctors learned to wash their hands. When was it? Let me think. Sometime in the 1870s or something, before they even started, because it was a Hungarian physician named Ignaz Semmelweis, who discovered, basically, because for the longest time, doctors didn't know that they needed to wash their hands. So they would just they'd go from treating like a plague victim or someone who had a terrible infection in their legs, just squeezing pus out blah, 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 and they just kind of they dip their hands in water, shake them a couple of times, and then they'd go deliver a baby. And wouldn't you fucking know it, a lot of mothers died in childbirth because of infections that they acquired during childbirth in hospital. So, bad stuff all around. And so Ignaz Semmelweis comes along and becomes the head of a hospital, or he worked at a hospital, and he proposed essentially he basically started wondering, okay, maybe bringing a bunch of disease particles from the people who have infections over to the people giving birth is a bad idea. So I'm going to mandate that all the doctors on my ward wash their hands with soap, really properly clean and disinfect their hands. And wouldn't you know it, the mortality at his ward, his particular hospital ward, was reduced below 1% in some cases, which was miraculous for the time, absolute miracle. But here's the thing: when he tried to publish it, when he tried to induce other doctors to be like, hey, maybe we should fucking wash our fucking hands, they didn't want to listen to him. Because, first of all, because he didn't have a germ theory. He didn't know exactly what the mechanism was of why washing your hands would prevent infection in other people. He didn't have a good scientific explanation for why. He just had observations that it happened. And second, if he was right, that would mean that doctors would be responsible, morally at least, for thousands of negligent homicides, like just like thousands of cases of doctors literally killing people by infecting them with diseases. And so there was like some resistance, you might say, in the medical community to admit, like to sort of consider his theories and to adopt his methods, because if they did, that would be kind of admitting that, oh yeah, no, sorry, we've been killing thousands of people every year by having bad hygiene. So Semmelweis was discredited, like, and a lot of other stuff also happened in his life. He struggled with his mental health a lot, but he was discredited. He lost his teaching positions. He lost his job. He lost like his friends. He lost everything, and eventually he died quite mentally unwell in an asylum sometime in the 1860s, I think, and like years and years after his death. Like that's after his death, Louis Pasteur and Joseph Lister started figuring out germ theory. Like they started actually like having experimental proof of the existence of germs and pathogens, and like his results were known, and some doctors were like, hey, maybe we should, especially younger doctors were like, hey, maybe we should adopt some of this, and started sort of pushing for it after his death. And once germ theory was discovered, like the evidence was so incontrovertible that finally doctors started washing their fucking hands. But like at this point in history where we were at this hospital, washing your hands before you go to operate on someone will still be a fairly recent invention. Just a little bit of context for you there. Anyway, might as well go to... Guess we can only go to the prison and not the police station? Okay. Let's go see Gina. 16th April. Local prison. Cell 13. We could get her out through that, couldn't we? Hello, Gina. They let her keep that?
Oh, you still have the grenade launcher Hurley and I made?
I wish you wouldn't point it at me all the time, though. What are you here for?
Ginny.
I have a feeling it's because of us that you've ended up in trouble. So we were thinking that we might be able to help you. Well, you can't. Sorry?
You hurt. Get lost. Don't be like that, Ginny. I know you didn't do it. You'd never shoot someone. I just know you wouldn't.
You think you know me? Pull the other one.
Oh.
You ain't got the first idea about the likes of me. I'm a thief. I pinch people's purses when they're walking down the street. That's how I get by. And if I saw me chance, I'd sneak into a pawn shop any day of the week. Just to see what I could lay my hands on. Get it? That's the kind of person I am. Are you trying to protect us, Gina? Because that's adorable, but no, we're getting you out of this shit.
But Ginny...
I'll be in court tomorrow, they say. Some cove came back before, said he'd be a lawyer for me or the like. Said it was my right or something. But I told him to get stuffed. I don't need no lawyer. I don't need no one. She couldn't be staring at me more obviously if she tried.
Why are you being like this, Ginny?
I don't understand, Gina. Why did you send the public defender away?
You want me to sign some papers? Representation papers or something like that? It's all going to be rigged anyway. The whole trial. They'll pin it on me because I'm a kid. That's what grown-ups always do. Why do you think that?
Because she's homeless in London in the 18 and 1900s. Jesus Christ. That's why she thinks that. She has every reason to. Anyway,
because that's how it's always been for me growing up in back slums, my whole life. If you do what the grown-ups tell you, it gets your mates dragged off by the coppers, or worse. I've had it happen to me before, no? Been sewn out and nearly snaffled on the back of it. Can't trust no one, that's the point. Soon as you do, you're going to grass, dead.
Gina, listen. If you like, in tomorrow's trial, I could...
Forget it! Ginny? Don't you trust Runo?
Nah, I don't. Look, I'll ask you nicely now. Just leave me alone.
No. Actually, no.
Will you tell us what happened, Gina? Last night at the pawnbroker's.
There's nothing to tell. I think they'd pay me, so I broke into the place and started again through the storeroom. But the old bloke walked in on me and, well, you know the rest. But why, Ginny? Why would you do that? Ain't it obvious? The place is full of stuff I could sell for a shilling or two. Diving ain't easy, you know. It's a lot of work, and half the time you get nothing.
That's not the story you told us yesterday, Ginny. Yesterday you told us that you actually quite enjoy it. Is that really why you broke into the place?
What?
Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else?
Oh, get a rest. What'd be the point anyway, eh? Nothing I could say would make a blind bit of difference. Please tell us, Ginny. We'll believe you, whatever it is. Believe me, don't be daft. You can't believe nothing. Everyone lies all the time. And you know what? When it comes to lies, I'm the biggest of the lot. I've told some unforgivable lies, I have. What do you mean by that? What unforgivable lies?
What did you mean before, Gina, when you said you were the biggest liar of the lot? Why didn't you tell us what these unforgivable lies you've told are? Maybe we can help.
Sorry. We're out of time. Think I won't question me now. Ginny, please. Oh, yeah. I want to give you this. Something to remember me by.
A photographic print of a really adorable cat. Check the back.
I found it in one of the pockets of this coat. Ain't it point me having it? I wonder what a little photograph like that was doing in a pocket of the overcoat. Anyway, don't bother coming again. Bye. Oh, Ginny.
Yeah, no,
Aha!
Look on the back of this print here. There's something written on it.
13th February, 9 p.m. Article deposited one small box. Loan amount paid 12 shillings. Redemption deadline 13th April, 9 p.m.
So, this photographic print is a redemption ticket?
13th February. That could be significant. It was just 2 days before the murder on the omnibus, wasn't it?
A small box. That doesn't tell us much about it, does it?
Bruno, if Mr. McGill had still had the ticket, then presumably he never redeemed the article. So do you think the box might still be present somewhere in the shop?
Ah, yes! If it's something Mr. McGill had deposited, we need to investigate. It's a very cute cat. This is an adorable little cat. I think it looks like a little like Wagahai. I always thought that cats like to curl up inside under the heated kotatsu blanket when it snowed. Maybe British cats are different? Incisive knowledge from you there, Runo. So she's trying to protect us from something, clearly. I guess there's nothing for it but to, go investigate what we can. Presumably there's gonna be a bunch of cops. Yeah. Oh, shit. That... Where the hell did that bloodstain come from? That can't have been from Was that from Herlock? Right, but that... Okay, so... The lamp was shattered when those people shot Herlock, right? So that bullet will have traveled through the lamp? All the way over to the doorway where he was shot up against the calendar? What? That doesn't make sense. Did they shoot Mr. Windibank out here? Is that how it happened? And then drag him into the room and lock it somehow? I mean, theoretically, if you had long enough arms, couldn't you lock it through just like the little opening door window there? Like just reach down and...
This is what happened then. last night.
That's right. The two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place looking for valuables. Or maybe they were looking for very specific valuables.
But, apart from the policeman in here, you wouldn't know anything had happened. There's no sign of a disturbance.
It's like blood on the wall, Iris! Blood on the wall! And a broken lamp. No, you're right about that, actually.
In fact, if anyone, it's the police who seem to be the ones doing the ransacking.
I know what you mean. They're like a gang of organized criminals, all dressed in black. Yeah, this is true.
Oh, I heard that.
Hey, Gregson. Oh, Inspector. Good morning.
Hey, I suppose you ought to thank you for your vigilance last night. We got to the scene before it was disturbed, at least. Shame you let the two rogues go away, mind?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I thought you'd assigned extra men to the beat around here, Grexy. Now look what's happened. Hurley's been injured because there weren't enough police on duty.
No, more police is rarely the answer, Iris.
Your ladyship! No one told me you were coming.
I expect you to take full responsibility for what happened to Hurley and see he has the very best medical care.
Of course, your ladyship. The very best doctors in the capital are tending to him as we speak.
And I don't think it's Reno's fault that the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police's job.
Absolutely, your ladyship, as you say, ma'am, as you say. The jet in black is totally blameless. Everyone's in agreement about that.
Would you believe it? He's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about a personality change.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you thirsty, your ladyship? Perhaps you'd like some juice? Some nice, refreshing fruit juice?
Oh, why? Are you thirsty, Grexy? I have some of my special herbal tea with me, if you'd like some.
Ah, lovely. Thank you very much. Hey, spot the ladyship.
Hang on. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, we'll see. Okay, I don't even recognize him like this. But it's gonna be nice to have Iris on our side with Gregson, something he actually cares about. Let's start there, I want to know. I couldn't help noticing, Inspector.
What? How with it, sunshine?
Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris.
Watch the source, Sonny. I'm a copper, and we don't go in for favoritism.
But he's right. You do treat us differently.
Well, it's because of those adventures of Sherlock Holmes stories, that's why.
Oh.
I crop up on him, don't I? Inspector Tobias Gregson.
Oh, well, yes, because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's.
What did you write about the Inspector, Iris?
I don't remember, really.
It was one of Sholmes's lines. Gregson is the smartest of the Scotland Yarders, is how he put it.
Oh, did I write that?
And you know what that one line did for me, eh? The very next month, my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell you.
Oh, that's amazing.
All because everyone at the yard reads them. They'll all read all the Sherlock Holmes stories. They've even set up a fan club for me.
Of course. That explains everything. It was around that time that you became such a toady to me.
Can you blame me? All it'd take is one bad word from you and Sholmes could change his tune about me. Gregson? No. Correct detective will say. He's getting quite overrated these days. Think what could happen to my salary if that came out in print, eh?
Oh, so that's why.
Nothing gives me the willies. I can't tell you how many nights of sleep I've lost worrying about it.
But that would never happen, Grexy.
Every month, when the new Rants magazine comes out, my hands are trembling as I turn the pages.
Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves.
The little pinky is a good detail.
Ah, lovely. Can't very much. I really hate to spot. Your ladyship.
Teetotal. I love that he just pulls the chips out of his pocket. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition?
Sorry, I'm under liberty to divulge that information. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential.
Well, I know he's being operated on at St. Sinners. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know.
Well, I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's the hospital's policy. No visiting at all.
Oh,
The bullet must have hit an artery in his midriff. He's lost a fair bit of blood.
oh no.
You didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so. But a hemorrhage like that is enough to make even the one and only Sholmes pot down.
Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know.
Well, anyway, he's having emergency surgery right now. They've got to stop that bleeding.
But he will be all right, won't he? They'll be able to make him better.
Of course, your ladyship. He'll be right as rain before you know it.
Really? How do you know?
Hey, how do I know? Because of course, because Mr. Sholmes is such a great detective, that's why.
We'd better pray the doctors have a better grasp of what's needed to make someone well again.
Oh dear. Please don't die, Hurley.
He'll be okay, Iris. He'll be okay.
I'll report to your ladyship the moment I hear he's out of the operating theatre.
So, how's the investigation going, Inspector?
Nothing to it, really. Very simple case, this. There's some very definite evidence. Which is about to charge that diver we arrested last night, in fact.
Gina? You're gonna charge her?
That's right. Should be able to bring her before the judge at Bailey tomorrow.
Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me.
Oh, your ladyship, as much as I wish I could oblige you, I'm afraid.
Ah, I see. You've already captured the pair of thugs who broke in here last night, have you?
What the...
And you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you?
How can you... How? How can you possibly know that?
I had a feeling, that's all.
Remind me never to try and keep a secret from Iris. So, you've arrested the two men who shot Mr. Sholmes then, have you?
Well, yes, they were rounded up pretty quickly by the lads on the beat.
And Miss Lestrade being held at the prison?
Well, she should be. That's assuming she hasn't lifted the key from the jail, of course. Oh, yeah, it's something I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes? What is it?
Well, I got an important message for you. I clean forgot about it until now.
An important message? I wonder what it could be. Gimme. Are you gonna tell me what this important message is, then, Inspector?
Yeah, it's about that young lady who's nobly by your side, your assistant.
Dear Susie, is she all right?
Why, she's at the station.
Oh, she is at the station, isn't she? Being questioned, I believe.
No, no anymore. She's had to head off.
Head off? Where?
To Lord Strongard's office, of course. He summoned her.
Oh, yeah, of course. I've forgotten about that.
One of the whipstocks took her there in the yard carriage after we finished questioning her. But she asked her to tell you that she didn't have to fear for the return journey and to go and meet her there. She's got a nerve, using Scotland Yard as a blooming messenger service.
I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector.
Why did Susie have to go and see the Lord Chief Justice?
She didn't tell me. But I'd better head over to the Lord Chief Justice's office to fetch her straight away. Well, I mean, yeah, just give me... Okay, are the cops just going to prevent me from investigating right now? Is that it?
All right, then. Let's see what we can uncover.
Oi, what do you think you're doing, Sunshine? You can't touch anything in here.
Oh, but we were hoping to investigate.
This is a crime scene, for Pete's sake. No touching.
What's the problem, Grexy? Bruno's a lawyer, you know that.
Well, ever so sorry, your ladyship. Ever so sorry. The rules and regulations are the thorn in my side. Of course, if Mr. Naruhodo ought to have been properly appointed by the accused, that'd be another matter.
The accused?
Oh, if you could show me some representation papers, I'd be only too happy to let you nose around.
Did you hear that, Bruno? We need Ginny to sign some representation papers.
It looks like presenting the detective here with the correct paperwork is the only way. Well, okay, so we're stuck on that one. Let's go get Miss Susato first. Then we'll go get some representation papers out of Ginny.
If we have to squeeze them from her like blood from a rock.
16th of April, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Yeah, yeah, no matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of oppressiveness somehow. That's just Britain.
Do you think the place is oppressive? I think it's normal.
That's definitely Britain. How so?
I mean, look at that suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you?
Maybe it thinks the same about you. Okay, so that would be Stronghand.
So, everything is clear with regards to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust.
Yes, thank you very much. There they are. Sato-san and Lord Strongheart.
I wonder what they're talking about. They both look very serious.
Very good. There is nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt you have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland.
Or what? Wait, what did he just say? You return to your homeland? Sasato-san!
Mr. Naruhodo?
What was that all about?
Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, thank you for coming to collect your colleague.
What's this all about? Why were you talking about Miss Sasato's return to her homeland? And tomorrow?
Tomorrow? But what about Ginny's trial?
You mean she's been formally charged now? Oh dear.
Well, okay then.
Okay. That's not cool. Mrs. Sato, what's this all about?
Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. It's only me going back to Japan.
What do you mean only you going?
Your life can continue just as...
That's not what I asked! What happened? Why are you leaving?
It's my father. He's fallen ill. Oh no!
Professor Mikuraba?
If I may.
Yes, sorry?
You must be the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
My name is Eugene Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news.
10 days ago, father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown. And it seems he grows weaker day by day.
I don't believe it.
As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Miss Sasato's departure as much as possible.
Yes, absolutely.
I will leave London first thing tomorrow morning.
I can't believe this is happening.
Sir Gina has been charged. She'll have to appear in court.
Yeah, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of her trial has already been set for tomorrow.
No, not even 24 hours later.
Gina. Ah, the Lestrade girl, and the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes. An all too transpicious case. The pickpocket was clearly disturbed mid-robbery, and shot the man in a panic. No, the yard is overstretched as it is, without wasting time on these open and shut cases.
Open and shut? Fuck you! Yeah, talk a lot of shit about the right to a fair trial in this fucking country. Fuck you.
Yeah, you have the right to a fair trial, but we're not going to bother spending enough money to make sure we're convicting the right person. Fuck you. Piss off.
It's not wasting time. Genie would never do something like that.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart?
In deference of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I have no recollection of admitting a child into my office. Leave. Now.
Of course, Lord Strongheart.
Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice.
Yeah, and the legal system will offer all kinds of excuses why they shouldn't bother with a proper fair trial or a proper investigation before charging someone with a serious crime like murder.
The police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetrated.
Yeah, there it is. Like, there's the bullshit. Like, well, oh no, the government just, like, we can't possibly be expected to spend all the time and money to do these things. Why, who do you think we are? The government, who's literally exists and is paid to do those things? No! Police people's time is so precious. It's so precious and special, don't you know? We can't afford to spend it on criminals. Criminals. Yeah, ew, criminals. Who wants to spend time on criminals? Disgusting. Throw them in jail and forget about them. That's all we need to. Fuck off. I have some issues with the way criminal justice is handled in a lot of places, in case you couldn't tell. Anyway, moving on.
There are far more serious matters with which to contend.
Fuck you! Fuck you! This is a fucking person's life you're talking about. The government can't just fucking come along and ruin a person's life for no fucking reason without taking the fuck... At least, like, the least you could do is take the time and effort, the care and the diligence to make damn well sure that you have the right person for the right reasons, and that the punishment that you're meting out also, like, actually matches the crime, and it's not fucking executing someone. Like, you can't... The death penalty is bad. And I don't care what, like, I don't care, well, what if it's a child murderer who kills puppies? Like, fuck no. Death penalty bad. Just bad. It is a bad thing that shouldn't exist. I'm gonna rant a lot in this episode, aren't I?
Serious matters. Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday.
It is no concern of yours, although I'm sure I need not remind you of that. "3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me."
There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart.
Which is?
It's Miss Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her?
A timely suggestion.
Sorry?
The girl currently has no representation.
But that's not fair. Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial.
Yeah! Like, literally a thing which is guaranteed in most countries' legal systems.
Supposedly. Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender.
Public defenders who are usually underpaid, reviled by the police because they help criminals escape justice or whatever, so they receive no cooperation from the rest of the legal system. They are overburdened with huge amounts of work because the police just can't fucking stop arresting people who have darker than pure fucking white skin tones, especially in the United States, but also in Europe. Don't ever let a European tell you, ever let a European tell you, like, no, racism, we don't have racism over here the same way. It's not that bad. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it fucking is. It just expresses itself in slightly different ways. Anyway, I need to play the game. There's
a rant inside that wants to get out.
Yeah, you provide a public defender. Goody fucking do for you. You don't pay him very well, though. There's a lot more money in being a prosecutor. A lot more political clout and power, too, because, you may not have noticed, but prosecutors tend to end up with political ambitions. You see, when you're a politician, oh, it's good optics to be tough on crime, isn't it? It's good optics to have been a public prosecutor defending the law from those lawless, terrible criminals. Like, oh, there's good optics in that shit. Fucking...
The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork, and a defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right.
Why would she do that?
A question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrade.
Oh, I don't know. This is maybe because she's been living on the street her whole life, completely neglected and ignored by her government, despite being in serious need of help and being a fucking child on the street in one of the most brutal fucking cities in the world. Oh, yeah, no. Why doesn't she trust the government? I don't understand. Why won't she just sign the papers? Why don't they just do what the police tell them to do? Motherfucker! Anyway, I swear to God, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and play the game.
You'll find her at the local prison.
Yes, thank you.
Now then, it is time I was leaving. Good day to you.
What a day. But like seriously, like the sheer void of empathy with which some people talk about criminals. Just apply that label to someone and they're a non-person, just not a person at all. Where it's like, if you live in the number one predictor of crime, like the number one, like since forever, every study that has ever been done on the subject of crime, you know what the number one predictor of someone being charged with a crime is? Poverty. Right after that one, race obviously comes into it, but poverty is the number one goddamn thing. It is the thing that predicts whether or not you will, in your lifetime, be charged with a crime. Not whether you commit one, mind you, because, you know, but it'll predict whether you get charged with one. And so, like, if you are poor in any country, your relationship with the police usually is hostile. If you've ever been homeless, you have no reason to have anything but an extremely hostile relationship with the police, because what the police does most of the time that you exist is prevent you from sleeping in a safe and warm place. Like, they move you out of places, they kick you out, they arrest you for loitering, like, they bring you in for crimes that you didn't commit because you're homeless and you're an easy catch. Like, there's an adversarial relationship with the state when you are homeless, when you don't own property. And then when people who are homeless, when people who live in poverty, when people who have been criminalized turn around and go, yeah, no, fuck you, we won't cooperate with police, we won't cooperate with the state, and we're not interested in playing nice with anyone. That's when, like, privileged white people like me, like, I used to do this is very much also a rant directed at fucking me, turn around and go, oh, I mean, if they'd only cooperate, like, if they'd only do what the police tell them to do, if they'd only play by the rules, if they'd only trust the system, then things would be all right for them. They could pull themselves up by their fucking bootstraps or whatever. But, like, no. To be poor, to be impoverished, is to live outside of the law. Like, there are laws in places that literally make it illegal to be homeless. Like, you can be arrested for not having a home. In the United States right now, and this is something I read recently that just fucking infuriated me, they're trying to pass a law that says in order to vote, in order to have the right to vote and the right to your own representation, you have to have a permanent address. So, like, one of the basic rights of citizenship being taken away from homeless people, but even more funnily, also from people who live on reservations. You know why? Because on reservations, because the United States government doesn't bother fucking doing anything there isn't a good road network. There isn't necessarily a network of addresses, and people who live on reservations can't necessarily have a permanent address that the United States government will recognize. So a lot of Native American people rely on P.O. boxes to get their mail and use those as their address for sending things, for having a residence, and don't have a permanent residence in a way that the United States government is willing to recognize. So guess who's losing their voting rights when the right to vote gets tied to permanent residence? And every law, by the way, that's passed to inconvenience the homeless, like that makes it legal for companies and corporations to discriminate against people based on whether or not they have a home address, yeah, those fucking target Native Americans as well. Like, it's just... like, there are huge sections of the population in every country, like, even, like, lovely socialist Denmark, well, social democracy where I live, yeah, it's, like, it's not fun being poor. It's not a good time, and the system is hostile towards you. It's not interested in helping you, it's interested in punishing you until you change your behavior. The system doesn't have to change. The system never has to change. You have to trust the system, and if you don't change your behavior, you will be punished for that. But the system never has to change. And the lack of empathy with which people will speak about those who've been criminalized, those who are poor, it's one of the most infuriating things. And partly it's infuriating because I know for a fact that I used to do the damn same thing myself. And that's a painful thing to know, that you used to be that guy, and that is part of your history forever. Not as miserable and painful as it is to actually, live with actual fucking poverty, though. So, keeping my white feelings in check here. But still, this is my little rant. I know it's sanctimonious. I know I'm preaching, but just this is why at the end of my videos, try to act with solidarity towards those who are worse off than yourself, because they fucking need you. The state doesn't have sympathy. Especially in oh my god, it's gone so long that I've actually managed to make my Switch think I'm dead. The state doesn't have sympathy for the poor. The state doesn't have sympathy for those who don't own property. It certainly doesn't have sympathy for the homeless, and it has no sympathy for those who've been criminalized. They need you to have sympathy for them. Empathy. And to, when there's elections, don't elect the assholes who go, tough on crime, tough on crime, tough on crime. Because all that means is just, I want to fuck over the poor. That's all it is. Whereas, wage theft, okay, so, I'm gonna keep going, fuck off. This is my series, I can do what I want to, I'm sorry, I'm gonna put a timestamp on screen so you can skip ahead. Wage theft is what happens when an employer induces an employee to do work under contract, and then doesn't pay them for that work, right? And the most common way that plays out is employers, for example, will say, oh, we expect you to show up half an hour before your shift starts. Will I be paid for that half hour? No, you won't. That's illegal. That you can't compel someone to show up for work and then not pay them for their time. That's not how labor fucking works. That is wage theft. Wages are garnished in hundreds of thousands or millions of little ways because it allows companies to save money on payroll taxes and on payroll. And they do it over and over and over and over again. And because employees don't necessarily know that it's happening or don't know that it's illegal, wage theft, in the United States alone, is bar none, bigger than the fucking drug trade. It is the biggest criminal enterprise in the United States. It is the most money that gets stolen from people anywhere. Anywhere. And it's all done by employers, by these respectable companies, these mega corporations that make billions and billions of dollars in profit, but somehow still need to steal a little extra from their fucking employees. Amazon does this. That is a crime. It is one of the biggest financial crimes on the planet. It happens every single year. It is a crime to the tune of an unspeakable amount of money. It is if you think about it logically, it should be the number one crime that anyone in the world is fucking investigating, because it's so much fucking money that's being stolen. Theoretically, that's the police's fucking job, isn't it? To prevent theft? Is it investigated that much? Nah. No, it's considered a labor issue, which means it's something that gets litigated privately between employee and employer. And you better hope to God you have a good, strong union at your back if you want to take Walmart to court for stealing your fucking wages in a class action lawsuit. It happens occasionally that one of these corporations gets pulled in for it, but they save so much more money doing this than they will ever have to pay in compensation, that there's no reason for them to not do it. Financially, in terms of a capitalist system, there's no incentive not to do it, because you will make more money doing it than you will ever lose in penalties. And because it's not considered a criminal issue in the same way that it would be if if someone stole your fucking wallet, that's a criminal issue. That's a criminal offense, right? That's a thing that policemen can clap you in handcuffs and take you down to the station for now. But no CEO is ever going to prison for the wage theft that happens at their companies. Ever. It's not going to happen. Ever. Because it's not considered a criminal issue in the same way. It's not criminalized in the same way that simple shoplifting is. Like, if you go to Walmart and steal an apple that costs $1, I don't know how much apples cost. What? It's a banana, Michael. How much could it cost? $10. That's a criminal act that you will be criminalized for, in a way that a CEO who has stolen $100 million in wages from his employees will never, ever be criminalized for. Like, ever. And poverty, again, I'll remind you, poverty is the number one predictor of whether or not you get arrested for a crime. So you have all these companies that are stealing money from you, making it harder for you to get out of poverty, and you have your condition of poverty that makes it substantially more likely that you get targeted for arrest and charged with a crime, whether or not you committed it. Just statistically, it's way more likely. And like, oh, gee, you don't have faith in the system? Why would that be? I don't understand. The system is working out so great for you. And it's like, okay. I think that's all of it. I think I'm done. Let's attempt to play a video game, shall we?
Gina charged with murder. Sato-san about to leave.
Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Iris, we must make haste. But, Susie, you're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have packing and things to do? As Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can.
How about you just go and pack, go home and see your dad? Thank you, Mrs. Sato. That's a very pensive look.
I think we ought to visit Gina first. In any case, I should like to visit her as well before I leave. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go.
If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. I'll just have to do what I can as a lawyer. Anyway, this is... it's one of the reasons why I really like Ace Attorney games, is that you are a defendant. You're always defending someone in court. Like, you're preventing the state from being able to throw someone in prison without having to goddamn well fight for it. Like... And that's a really compelling fucking fantasy to me. Which is also why, like I've said before, that... the Ace Attorney games are very idealistic about the law. They're very idealistic about, oh, the law is for protecting people and, like, protecting the innocent and like, catching criminals. And it's like, about, like, doing that sort of very idealistical good in the world. And that's a thing that, like, that's just such a nice fantasy to believe in. It's like, it's very idealistic about it, but I don't begrudge it that, because, like, yeah, the law should be about that. Like, the people who commit the worst crimes in the world should be held accountable for that. And and people who have not committed crimes, people who are vulnerable, people who have no friends, no one to stand up for them, should have solidarity from other people. That's the thing with poor Mr. Natsume. He had no one to stand up for him, like no one to represent him in court, no one who wanted to be on his side because he was a filthy foreigner. And we come there and was like, no, we'll be on your side. Like, that, as a fantasy, that's fucking compelling. Because, like, that's... You know, like, if I get to be that to someone at one time or another in my life, then I think, you know, I can probably show up the pearly gates and feel justified, you know? Anyway... 16th April, local prison, cell 13.
Oh,
Hello again, Gina.
what are you doing here for now?
To have the muzzle of that grenade launcher shoved in our faces yet again, obviously.
Why didn't they take it away from her?
I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition into that thing, don't I? Look, you can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like you to say.
What?
I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell.
Aye? Farewell?
Tomorrow I must begin my journey back home, to Japan. I fear we may never meet again.
Oh, right.
I'll have the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it will be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable.
Susie? Well, it ain't my business.
Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them.
Yeah, that's right. I can't. What of it?
It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they're so clearly unhappy. Because of you.
What? It's my fault?
Yes. So I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here and now, I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you.
Aye?
Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be.
What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh?
You've told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. What about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lies. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant.
No, I can't.
Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquitted?
Oh,
The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about?
Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, I lied you like you wouldn't believe.
No, I'd believe it. Will you tell us about it now?
Like you said, it happened 2 months ago. The corpus got old man shoved me in the witness stand.
And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent.
Yeah, well, thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff.
I knew it.
what sort of thing did you lie about?
I was hiding under the seat that night. That was the truth. It was pitch black in that little cubbyhole. I couldn't see a thing. And then I heard that thud, like someone falling on the floor.
And that's when Mr. McGilded discovered you?
Yeah. He pulled me out from under the seat and sat me next to your dead man. They weren't much like to see by, but when I looked at my hands, I had the coves of blood all over them. I was so scared, I couldn't even speak.
You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight. Yep.
Then Mr. McGilded started asking you questions, I suppose. Who you were and why you were hiding under the seat.
Yeah, he did. Only, that's not all.
What do you mean?
I mean, he threatened me.
Threatened you how?
He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I'd heard. About what he was going to do after the girl was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. If I did that, he said he'd let me scarp it before the coppers showed up.
Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything.
You said Mr. McGilda made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw. But you were in the pitch black compartment of the seat the whole time, weren't you?
Yes, with Mr. McGilda sitting above your head, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's true, but it was when I heard the thud of the cove sitting on the floor. I let out a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. Mr. McGilda heard that and dragged me up by my arm. And that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer what had been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny.
A disc?
Do you mean... Yeah, that's it. The one what the D took off me at Winterbinks.
So the music box was there on the floor of the omnibus?
Not for long. McGilda spotted it straight away. He picked it up smartish and stuffed it in his inside pocket.
So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder.
The book trotter told me. I weren't a word of it to no one. Because it was so dark on that seat in the cab, I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin.
Presumably that was Mr. McGilda getting on board.
Nah, not only him. Oh, because I could definitely make out the footsteps of two people.
In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGilda and the victim.
Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason.
In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilda claimed he slept during the carriage ride.
So that was a lie.
But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it.
And your own testimony, Gina, supported his.
All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that weren't exactly true. Neither of them was asleep. I could hear him talking the whole time, in low voices.
What? What were they talking about?
Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses and the wheels was too low.
But that still tells us something. Mr. McGilda and the victim knew each other.
So, McGilda was lying, as I suspected.
I knew it wasn't going to take long before someone raised the alarm that had been killed.
Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly.
So when the cab came to a stop, Mr. McGilda told me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The two coves from up top ran to get the coppers.
Yeah, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First?
Right, and after they'd gone, McGilda asked the driver to do him a favour.
Favor?
Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. I'll give you 10 guineas.
A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street?
Yep, you got it. It was Winterbinks. The coachee snapped up the money and ran off to Popper's Cut as fast as he could. So then there was no one left in the garage. McGilda opened the books under the seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions.
I see.
What were Miss McGilda's conditions, then? For letting you go free, I mean.
Not telling a soul, not for anything, about what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well.
There's more?
Yeah. This is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me, with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? At all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Hi, the fiend's taking me overcoat to deposit with a pawnbroker hereabouts. And I want you lass to take the redemption ticket for it. Do you understand? What? You want me to have the ticket? That's right, and I'll come fetch it from you later, sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang on to it until then. Is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it. All right then.
And in case it might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windybanks, so it is, and you're to extend the loan before the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited, and any old fiend could come along and buy it. Aye, but mine got what kind of brass? Here's £5. That should be enough. Do understand each other, lass. Don't try anything funny now. If you go against me... Yeah, okay. Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? Hi, they'll come asking you to take the stand in court, to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What it is that you might say, and what it is that you won't.
Wow, I wonder why she mistrusts adults and like the high society people in the wow. I can't think why.
After he'd gone over it all, apart it got as far away from this as I could. He hid the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the sign. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark.
So, McGill had planned it, and coerced Gina into giving false testimony.
I bet you're ready to string me up, boy. Alright. In that big old courtroom, I told some caucus. The thing is, he said it would make it so we couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. What a wicked man. He knew everything what went wrong in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us, and was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So, you mean Mr. McGilded would have... In an heartbeat, he could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he wanted. And then where we were gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have no choice.
Yeah, you fucking didn't. Because a rich guy decided that your lives were worth a lot less than his convenience.
Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything.
But I'm for it now, eh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid.
Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor.
Favour? What?
Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial.
Aye?
If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us.
Investigate what?
But the scene of the incident last night, Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see.
You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Ginny. Is it bad? Is he going to be alright? Sholmes is going to be alright, right?
That's why I want to investigate. For Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything.
Right. So, what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy, is that it?
Something like that. Miss Asado?
Oh, yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me, though. No lawyer, nothing.
Yeah, you do. Because everyone does. Like, everyone needs people. That's the thing is, like... Oh, God. I'm going to try not to rant for too long this time. But that's the thing is, like... Everyone needs the care of other people. I don't give a shit who you are. You need the care of other people. Like, no matter how fucking, like, Jeff Bezos, whatever, at some point, that motherfucker's organs are going to start to fail. He's going to get real old as Jeff Bezos, and he's going to need the care of other people. And even if he somehow fucking makes a robot to do it for him by that time, when he was born, he needed the care of other people. Every person alive on Earth needs the care of other people, and because of that, everyone deserves the care of other people. Which is why you hear lefties like me, like la-di-da, hippy-dippy, love, peace, and happiness types go on and on and on about solidarity. Because that's what it means. It's the care of other people. Caring for strangers even though you don't have any good reason to, as it were. Because you're gonna need it. You're gonna need strangers to care about you at some point. You need them to care about your rights. You need them to care about your needs. You need them to care about your existence. Like, maybe not like you as a person. That's not really necessary. You don't have to like someone as a person to have solidarity with them. Just, like, indifference is poison. Like, it is poison. And indifference is what conservative politics run on. Like, why should I care? Not my problem. Fuck you, got mine. That's right-wing politics. That's conservatism. That's what it's based on. Fundamentally, it's like, get away from me. I don't owe anything to anyone, which, no, fuck you. Yes, you do. You owe something to Ignaz fucking Semmelweis, who's the reason why you can go to the hospital without getting killed with an infection. He did that for you with no expectation of any reward, and indeed, he was not rewarded. Like, every person who has existed on Earth before you did something for you. All of them. And go back 150 generations, every human on Earth, like, very quickly we start to be related to each other. It's really easy to forget that.
Poor Ginny. She seems so lonely.
Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windybanks now.
Yes. And perhaps we can come back to visit Ginny when we're done there.
I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. Oh, she's gonna close up again, don't you worry. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windybanks. Although something tells me he's not gonna be happy about it. Yeah, well, the cop can get in fucking line. Let's save this girl, shall we? In the next episode. Maybe. Probably going to be an episode or two yet. But if you want to watch that, I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to like, comment, and or subscribe to be notified of when that episode goes live. But if you can't wait, if you are truly impatient, you need it now, you need it right now, there's an outside chance that some more Ace Attorney may be available for you, hidden behind YouTube memberships, which get early access to a few of the episodes of stuff, well, actually a lot of them at this point, on this channel. So if you want that, it might be there. You should check the playlist before you pay any money, though. Like, just, it's like, maybe I haven't uploaded them yet, so maybe you don't want to pay. You just check the playlist, and if there's some episodes there that are, like, behind memberships, like, if you want it, you can do memberships. I also have a Patreon, a merchandise store, and a tip jar that all helps me pay my rent and stuff, but if you don't want to use any of it, you absolutely do not have to. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to wear a mask and wash your hands. Take as many vaccines as it's going to take. That, too, is an act of solidarity with others. And just, like, just try to remember other people are your family in some strange way. Like, even the shitty ones.